want to know the whereabouts of our daughters. Our daughters are 14, 16, 15 years old. Where are they? Who has taken them away from us? What is happening with them? I want to talk with my daughter. I want to hear her voice, to find out whether she is alive or not. I want nothing more. I want to hear my daughter's voice.
Egypt is most often associated with ancient history, pharaonic dynasties, the pyramids and tourism. Few holidaymakers to Egypt notice what lies concealed behind the facade of this ancient paradise. In 2011, acts of terror against Christians, which make up a mere 15% of the total population of 80 million, escalated. Perhaps the most horrific and hidden aspect of contemporary Christian persecution is the abduction and forced conversion of underage girls.
Instances of forceful conversions to Islam have been prevalent in Egypt since the beginning of the 1990s, ever since Islamic and Sharia groups began to spring up. These incidents took place under the patronage of the National Security Agency. After the revolution and the disbanding of the agency, Salafists began acting in accordance with their own aims. After the revolution, we noticed how their interest turned towards 11, 12 and 13-year-olds. There is a whole group of girls this age who have totally disappeared.
One of such abducted Egyptian Christian girls is 14-year-old Nadia Makram, who vanished while visiting a church.
I led her to church. When the church service began, I went outside for a moment. On my return, Nadia was gone. We went outside and searched the streets. Then we came back to church, but she was nowhere to be seen. And then they suddenly told me, "Your daughter has been kidnapped." I was shocked when I learned that my sister had been kidnapped. We turned the world upside down. With our friends, also Christian, from work, we ran left and right. We searched in all sorts of places, in hospitals. We were well shocked. We later found out that they had kidnapped her because she was a Christian.
Kidnappings are tragically increasingly the order of the day in Egypt. Young Christian girls are taken away to unknown destinations where they suffer multiple rape, are drugged, and then after a few weeks of torture, coerced and blackmailed to convert to Islam.
If a young Christian girl disappears in Egypt today, then it is more than likely that in a month or two she will appear in a video clip, admitting that she has become a Muslim of her own free will. The moment she makes such a declaration, she officially becomes a Muslim, and her Christian family lose all rights to her.
ما كنتش بعرف انام ولا اكل ولا اشرب ولا اي حاجه كان كل همهم يشربوني مخدرات ويغتصبوا طلعوا شباب اخذوني منهم قعدت معاهم يومين بالظبط انا ما كنتش حاسه اليومين دول عدوا ازاي وانا حوالي 5 ال5 كانوا بيخشوا معايا هم 5 كنت بقعد من الليل بالنهار كنت 24 ساعه صاحيه ولا اكتر من 50 واحد في الشهر دول اغتصبني عشان أنا مسيحية.
It is alleged by local Christians that not only do the local Muslim authorities do nothing to protect these young women, but often tacitly accept these kidnappings as part of a larger regional call to Islam.
These acts are also financed by Islamic backers from outside Egypt. A young girl fetches from 20 to 100,000 Egyptian pounds, depending on her looks and social standing.
Od urody tej dziewczyny i jej statusu społecznego.
Though the detention sites where the young Christian girls are imprisoned are sometimes known, the local police are silent in face of these crimes. Nadia Said's parents have, from the day of her kidnapping, unsuccessfully demanded that the Egyptian police act to uncover the perpetrators of the crime. The drama is all the more poignant as the whereabouts of the 40-year-old male behind their daughter's kidnapping is well known.
I went to report the kidnapping to the public prosecutor's office. The police came to my house and roughed us up and searched our home. I was forced to leave because the chief prosecutor quite literally told me, "We will finish you off." I should have stayed put and quiet. Though I know the kidnapper, I should nevertheless not level any charges, but quite simply accept a missing persons inquiry. I must accept my daughter's kidnapping or leave.
I talked with a certain Christian from Egypt who told me that they often know where such girls are kept, but are incapable of doing anything about it. The only thing that remains for them to do is to walk around such a house and pray.
The kidnapping of young Christian girls and their forceful conversion to Islam leads to a number of other dramatic consequences. In the light of Egypt's new constitution, inspired by Sharia law, reversion to Christianity following a conversion to Islam, freely or by coercion, is practically impossible. The most extreme punishment for apostasy from Islam is death.
As relates to the return of people to Christianity, we have lodged 5,000 petitions for the single purpose of regaining a Christian's right to return to Christianity. Of course, such acts are not bereft of problems, difficulties and the harassment by fanatics when they find out that, having converted to Islam, they now want to return to Christianity.
Terrified young Christian girls, harassed and exposed to Muslim provocations, find some help in church centres, such as the one operating in the Catholic Archbishopric of Minya. Apart from material assistance, they, above all else, receive spiritual and psychological support.
We try to talk with the girls about any problem that might have occurred, attacks, rape. We try to convince them to stay here for a while, to recuperate, and thus enable them to become valuable members of society anew. A girl comes here to be rehabilitated and can stay here from 6 months to a year, even more than a year. We then give her a curator, and this curator, even when she leaves, never leaves her. When a girl comes here, she doesn't pay for anything. The bishopric takes responsibility for everything about her, whether her beliefs, her life, as well as all health and social matters.
There was a group of Muslims set on kidnapping me. That is why I am here. There were problems between the group of Muslims and my brother. They feared for my safety, and so they put me here. Now when I have free time, I can't go home because of them, because I am scared of them, their stare. So when I am home, I always stay inside and never ever go outside. If I stay here for another year, I will get married and not go back home to live there. I will immediately wed.
In addition to kidnappings and forced conversions, young Christian girls are forced to cover their heads and faces according to Muslim tradition or bear humiliation. Despite the escalating nature of these crimes, a veil of silence in the international community has rendered this subject mute.
Chrześcijanie tak naprawdę
Christians essentially realized that under the present circumstances, unless the free world, the West, wakes up and does something to effectively help them,
wpłynąć na władze Egiptu,
to influence the Egyptian authorities to change their policy towards Christians,
głównie politykę przyzwolenia na
essentially a policy of consent to victimization and a brutal showdown with Christianity,
to jedyne co
then all that is left to them is their faith in God and prayer.
This is a photograph of when she was very small. This is a picture from when she was taking her grammar school entrance exam. This is a picture of Nadia with her father and siblings. This is a picture of Nadia. This is a picture of Nadia.